international tourist arrivals and also in receipts. Almost 2 million tourists and 1.3 billion US dollars from those lost in 2011 were recovered. But we are still not at the levels of 2010. And if we look a bit deeper into the figures and recent trends, we see a worrying slowdown of recovery during the second half of the year. Although, indeed, these figures confirm the proven capacity of the Egyptian tourist industry to bounce back, for resilience and to bounce back, as pointed out by our Secretary General. There are some worries about the safety and security situation, and also rumors about the possibility of imposing restrictions on tourism regions. What would be your message to the audience in addition to shedding some light of what the valuable efforts of the Ministry and the Egyptian Tourist Authority to recover these flows?
In fact, in Egypt we used in the last 4 or 5 years not to look at the TV or to read newspapers because things didn't move. There were no news. Nowadays, since 2011, you need to follow the news each second, each minute, because there is a lot of change taking place all the time in Egypt. So if you are talking about a country, 5,000 years more or less history, and then a high rhythm of change, I think you need to find a position where to stand to have a good vision of things. So whenever, for me, in such a situation, you need to have, first of all, solid land to step on, to situate yourself in a longer context, in a longer narrative, and then afterwards you look to tactics. I'll begin by the things I think that is haunting all our minds. What is the actual situation in Egypt? I think whatever we are thinking about the revolution, we are going, I won't say the right way, but we are going well. If we consider tourism figures prove it. We had last year 11.5 million tourists coming essentially from Europe. And these people didn't have any problem in Egypt. So to assure you, to talk about security and talking about figures, our strategy, and effectively our new strategy is sticking to our strategy that we established before, because I think it was not a bad strategy considering the type of tourism, considering the markets, considering the regions, considering the destinations to develop. I think we'll be more or less sticking to the same strategy. And what we did in the last 2 years had proven that it worked well. We changed at a certain time some tactics, considering the campaign, for example, the communication, but on the other hand, we stick to number one axis in our strategy, strong partnership with our international tour operators and carriers, because 92% of the tourists coming to Egypt are coming through air, and 70% of air is brought to Egypt by tour operators. So our first priority is to support and cooperate with our partners, with our international partners. Going back to the situation, I think that, and relating it to tourism, Egypt went well at the beginning of 2010, just after the parliamentary elections, and our expectation was that in the last quarter we will be back to the figures of 2010. In October, we were back from some main markets, to the figures of 2010. For example, Germany ended 2012 by an increase of 3% in terms of tourist nights. Denmark, 8%. Russia more. Poland, Ukraine, the levels of 2010. So we were right in some of our expectations. The problem is, as all of you know, what happened at the second or third week of November in Egypt. Political, the declaration, the new constitutional declaration. So I think we had very precise expectations, and we are sticking still to our expectations that in 2013 we will be back to the figures of 2010. And me being working in tourism for a while, I cannot not be influenced by the environment. I'm very positive. Effectively, we don't have the luxury to be pessimists. Whatever our nature, we can't be pessimists. I am positive. I'm in Spain. You must be positive whenever you are in Spain. And our Spanish partners, and let's tell you that the worst performance we had worldwide is from Spain, but still, all our partners in Spain are very positive about the next season. So I'll do like that.
What would you identify as the main challenges for?
In fact, my main challenge is to answer the questions and the issues that were proposed or that were displayed by the revolution. We have, if you consider Spain, for example, I think domestic tourism in Spain represents 60%, more or less. In Egypt, the question is not that the domestic tourism is weak, but is that tourism in Egypt is schizophrenic. We have tourism for foreigners and tourism for nationals. And this is why, for example, whenever there is a crisis, domestic tourists cannot compensate the weakening of the international inbound tourism. So, and this is not only the structural problem of tourism, no, this is the structural problem of the society or of the socio-economic problem of Egypt, from which resulted the revolution. So I think this will be a main challenge, and it will, with time, be solved, especially, and here, yes, because I forgot to answer one of your questions, which is very important, especially that now the actual government and the majority party, for them, it's clear that tourism is fundamental for Egyptian economy. And if ever anybody at some time of the last year have been talking about changing the habits or changing the culture in tourism, no. Radically and categorically, no. Nothing. They won't approach tourism. They can't approach tourism. On the contrary, they are supporting tourism. For the first time of our history, our minister have been in 3 presidential trips worldwide. According to my memory, it never happened before. Within 2 months, let's say, within 5 months, he had been with the president, and that's why he's not here right away, because he is with the president in Germany. It never happened before.
Thank you.